everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Book Syndicate. We're going to have so much fun this week, you're not even going to believe what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
We're going to talk about comic books. We have a special section now where we have people who are watching the show at home send in a video of themselves asking us a question.
Yes.
Well, this time...
Video questions.
Yes. This is
people use videos?
They do these days, yes.
Oh.
Now, let's cut to the video and see what they asked us this week.
Hi, I want to read Thor. Where should I start?
We just happen to be in the mood to talk about Thor this week.
I'm always in the mood to talk about Thor. Well, for me, it's one of the newest series that came out. Thor, the Mighty Avenger. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful artwork, great writing. It is a lighter, gentler Thor, so some of the hardcore fans may not be as into it. But they definitely don't answer all the questions right away. They give you more mystery than actual facts about Thor, but that's what I think is very intriguing about it. You could also find Thor, the Mighty Avenger, collected in Thor, the Mighty Avenger, Volume 1.
Now let me ask you this. I've not read this series. Does Thor still speak in Shakespearean English in this?
Sure does.
Really?
If anything, they just simplified it more.
Sure.
But yeah, you get all the thous and the these, and only he can hold Mjolnir. All those things. Odin, his brother Loki, they're all there.
Mjolnir, which is made out of Uru metal.
They don't mention that.
Okay. So here you go. Have your hammer back. Now, I dug deep into my collection, okay? And I really thought about this stuff.
These are beautiful, too.
Unfortunately, readers or viewers at home, you probably won't be able to get these. These are Marvel Treasury editions, okay? But they reprint the old Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Thors, which is the foundation of all Thor stories that came after it. But don't start at Volume 1. Start at maybe Volume 2, and if not, Volume 3, 4, 5. That's really the peak for me.
Are they Kirby artwork?
This is Kirby artwork. There's a sword in here, okay? There's the size of the Renaissance Center, okay? It takes like 42 guys to pick it up, okay?
Yeah.
These stories also have Loki. It has the Recorder. Remember the Recorder?
I do remember the
He's like the
Recorder.
Watcher, but he was a robot, and he recorded
yeah.
everything into his chest or something.
Yeah.
There's
on magnetic tape.
Yeah, exactly. There was a cameo appearance by Ego, the Living Planet. Basically, it's really hard to explain to the average person on the street I'll use the word majesty of Jack Kirby and what, really good Silver Age 60s comic books were, but this is really good.
Well, I mean, not only is he a legend, and anyone who knows comics knows his work, but the fantasy and the creation of the characters, the look, are so unique. And so you think of Thor and you think of it as Norse gods, and they're just ripping off this. This isn't that. This is what he does with these ideas and these characters is just never seen anything like it, and since or before.
Exactly. And I mean, just the contrast, for example, of seeing a god in space. Just that contrast alone. It's something you don't really think about. You have a god who's in outer space, which you think of associated with science fiction. For a new reader, if you want to get started on Thor, you've got the Mighty Thor, and you've got the Marvel Masterworks reprints of the classic Thor by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Going back into your career, what were some of your influences when you were growing up as a kid?
Monster movies. I wasn't really a comic book fan, but I loved old movies and monster movies. So I was reading Famous Monsters and those type of magazines and Godzilla films and just drawing my own stories on the back of test papers, things like that. So I think that's what first fed the imagination. And then when I graduated and decided I wanted to do comics, then I started looking more into actual comic books and learning how to draw.
Okay, and for me personally, I see slight Kirby influence. Is there a Kirby influence?
Not really. I was oblivious to a lot of Kirby's stuff. I discovered him mainly just in the recent years when I found his books, like when he would do adaptations of 2001: A Space Odyssey, the weirder stuff, like Devil Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur.
The only thing I've really read of his. It was so fun and bizarre.
Absolutely. A red dinosaur with a boy on his back.
That's right. Moon Boy.
Yes, Moon Boy. That's right, Moon Boy.
Comic Book Syndicate, assemble.
Okay, here we go, guys. This is another fun part of the show. I mean, it's all fun, but this one's extra special fun.
This is more viewer?
Yeah, viewers, they send in questions. So we would like to call this the Listo 65 segment because he's pretty much the only person that writes to us.
Yes.
Okay, so here's his question. Do you think more attention and care has been placed on comic book covers over the years? I think he's saying, is it more now than it was before? And then he says, can you name some of your favorites?
For the first part of the question...
do you think more care is taken now or in the past?
I wouldn't know too much of the specifics. As far as I understand it, I mean, old comic book layouts were all done by hand. So you had to draw the name Thor, cut it out, or at least have a photocopy of it, I guess, in black and white, and then it was hand colored and all sorts. I mean, just the process. Technology doesn't exist like it does now. So it probably takes less people because you can just drop logos in and change colors and do that. So I guess time and care. I think the care is certainly there. I think covers have not. I mean, gone downhill. I think there's some beautiful ones, great examples that came out probably this week. You know what I'm saying? But it's obviously, I think the work is just.
So who do you think is one of your personal favorites over the years? Who's one of the best?
Oh, I'll go with Adam Hughes.
Adam
and
Hughes.
it's funny too, not a lot of just cover artists either. Like Adam Hughes and, as we said before, Brian Boland. You can't beat Brian Boland.
He is probably the best one right now. Yeah. Absolutely. Regarding the first question, I do think more thought was put into to covers in the 1960s and before that.
Yeah, and they were, like I said, just because they were all done by hand. I mean, just that art, you can feel the love, right? Like you see the...
I actually, what I'm more thinking of is, I know that a lot of Superman covers in the 60s, they actually started with the cover. Where they would go, okay, you know what? Let's start with a cover of Jimmy Olsen getting married to a monkey, and we'll figure out how to explain it later. And that way, you start with a cover that is going to pull you in, and you write a story around it, right?
Yeah, true enough.
As far as the actual execution, that's debatable.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of covers now are just really...
Pinups.
Yeah, they're pinups or they're just boring.
My favorite cover artist of all time, Mike Zeck, okay?
Yeah, Mike Zeck.
Mike Zeck did a run of G.I. Joe covers in the 80s, and this was a whole different thing. This was... Let's take the most dramatic moment in the comic and dramatize it.
He also did iconic, like his Punisher covers.
Oh, they're just
were so beautifully iconic.
Yeah,
and like just him standing in front of the target with the shots in it. I think that's him, right?
Yes, it is. That's Mike Zeck.
And those are painted covers.
Airbrushed, yeah. And there's another Justice League alumni I'd like to mention really quick. Kevin McGuire did a great run of covers on The Adventures of Superboy. And it's a very obscure run that not many people know about, but those are some excellent covers. So I recommend you check those out. So that's it for this week. Please, viewers, send in some questions, and we'll be happy to answer them anytime.
Any questions, or perhaps if you want to see us do a particular dance.
And we'd like to thank Dan for asking us what Thor he should read first. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome, Mike.
You can also find this collected in Volume 1 of Thor the Mighty Avenger.
Well, I can personally say, George, would you like to take over from here?